Hey everybody, my name is Steve. I'm a diesel mechanic, but I'm also a recovering addict. Um, I'm a U.S. Army vet, did 9 years, did 3 combat tours, 2 to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan, and well, I came back with all my physical pieces, but didn't come back with all my mental pieces. So, in order to cope with things, I turned to things such as weed, but weed wasn't really doing the trick for me anymore, so I bumped it up to alcohol. Because after I got in the Army, I really couldn't afford to do weed anymore, so alcohol became my deal. And alcohol became a little too easy to detect on me. People could smell it on me. They saw the mountain of beer bottles coming out of my barracks room, and so after I got my wisdom teeth pulled, they gave me my first bit of pain pills, and I learned quite early that I could get a similar effect to alcohol and weed by use of pain pills, and nobody could smell it on me. I finished out my contract with the U.S. Army, and then after I got back from Afghanistan, which was my third tour back in 2011, I really fell off the rails. I did not adapt to civilian life well at all. There was about a year there that I think I slept maybe an hour a week. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I was so scared to be by myself. The silence was just deafening to me, and I'd do my grocery shopping like 3 and 4 in the morning, but I ended up going downhill pretty quick for pain pills. I ultimately ended up, and I know this sounds like a tangent, but it is connected to the topic at hand. But I sold off everything that I owned, and it ended me to there, and my time is up. But yes, that's who I am, and that's where I've been.
I'm FTFE. I run a YouTube channel called FTFE where I debate the dumbest thing humanity's managed to produce, which is flat earthers, and I do a bunch of videos and stuff over there. So if you would like to lose a few brain cells, then please go and check out what I do over there. So normally the debates I have end up being complete dumpster fires, and this is going to be nice for me because it's not going to be a dumpster fire. I'm going to be talking to an intelligent person and having a decent conversation. I have had my issues with addiction as well. I am a military veteran as well, and I got severely injured during my service, injury to my shoulder, injury to my knee, and I'm in chronic pain 24 hours a day. And they prescribed me a bunch of pain pills, opioids, which probably isn't the best thing to have for chronic pain because in certain cases it can make it even worse. But the end result was I became highly addicted to the opioids that they gave me for nearly a decade. And frankly, cannabis saved my life. Cannabis allowed me to lose that addiction and cope with getting off of the opioids and the pain pills that I was prescribed, with the horrible side effects that were ruining my life. Hallucinations, depression, anxiety, all the worst kind of things that you would want when you're trying to deal with chronic pain. Opioids cause them. Cannabis allowed me to get rid of that and helps me control the pain that I'm in. Nothing gets rid of the pain, but cannabis is the best thing for doing it. And I don't think there is side effects apart from feeling less pain and can be a bit chill. I think cannabis is amazing, and it's a natural thing that can help a lot of people. So, okay, that's yeah. I'm happy to go first. Whatever is easy for you, bud. No worries.
All right. Say go.
Okay, go. So, I'm gonna be kind of freeballing this with the research that I've done and the personal experiences that I've had. Cannabis literally has saved my life. It allowed me to move away from a horrible thing that I was going through and allows me to cope as a person, and I think helps me be a better person. But that's just my personal experience, and I think it's a much larger issue as to whether it should be legal or not. And it's interesting when you look at why cannabis became illegal, because cannabis has been used for as far back as 2800 BC to treat health problems, was listed in Emperor Shangyun's Pharmacopoeia, over 3,500 years ago. It's been part of human civilization for a long time. It was one of the first cultivated crops in history. And it's never been associated with problems, with addiction, with illness. It was seen as a medicine throughout most of history. And then it became illegal mainly because of what happened in America. And then the rest of the world kind of followed suit, barring other places which have religious reasons. But like the Western world kind of made cannabis illegal because of what happened in America, and that was basically racism. Start of the 1900s, there wasn't really much cannabis use in the USA. When Mexicans started coming in, they were smoking cannabis, and people started like passing hysterical tales of bad things that it was doing, and it became associated with Mexicans being bad and evil and stuff, which was not true. It was a response to racism and a bleed over from the end of Prohibition, and then many states started to ban it. And the Federal Bureau of Narcotics pushed that it caused violence and psychotic behavior and stuff, which there was no evidence of. It was all lies. But that's why it became illegal. The rest of the Western world kind of followed suit, and that was the end of the kind of widespread use of cannabis as a medicine without any stigma behind it. That's where the stigma came from of why it became illegal. So this is a paper about the therapeutic benefits of cannabis, and they had a wide range of people that they tested it on, and overall response rate was 94%, mean age was 49 to 51. Almost all people reported pain relief from medicinal cannabis. Average pre-treatment pain on the 0 to 10 scale was 7.8, whereas average post-treatment pain was 2.8. That's 7.8 is quite a high level of pain, and then to use cannabis and it to go down to 2.8 is a 64% average relative decrease in pain. Other reported therapeutic benefits included relief from stress, anxiety in 50% of the respondents, help with insomnia, improved appetite, decreased nausea, increased focus, concentration, relief from depression. Several patients wrote notes rating that cannabis helped them to decrease or discontinue medications for pain, anxiety, and insomnia, like it did with me. It helped me get off the opioids. 6 patients wrote brief notes rating how cannabis helped them to decrease or to discontinue other medications. Medical cannabis replaced my need for oxycodone. Now I don't need them at all, or I don't need the Xanax anymore. So it helps. It can help people, and there's so many studies to show that cannabis is something that can help people. And in the same paper, they talk about when they were trying to put through a bill to say that it shouldn't be illegal, and the Medical Association were given these statements, which was a final kind of overall statement of why they think it should be removed as a Schedule 1 substance. And the conclusion they came to was cannabis has little or no known withdrawal symptom and is therefore considered to be minimally or non-addicting. Cannabis has many well-known medical benefits, including efficiency for anorexia, nausea, vomiting, pain, muscle spasms, and glaucoma, and it is currently recommended by thousands of physicians. And cannabis has been used by millions of people for many centuries with no history of recorded fatalities and with no lethal dose ever discovered. And that's important. No lethal dose ever discovered.
I can't deny all of the good things that it does. This first book is Cannabis and CBD. Eliza Sherman and Dr. Janella Chin explain on pages explain in this book about all of the medicinal and just overall improvement of life benefits there are for cannabis. Craig listed off quite a few of them there, and these are not new to anybody here, but in this book in particular, they talk quite a bit about sexual inhibitions. Page 144 has an interesting take on vaginal applications, which was really freaking weird for me to think about. There's a fine line between what is medicine, what is a drug, and what is poison in my mind. And it's a very blurry line between the two. Craig sees it as, you know, it's something that's helped him out, it saved him, and anybody who can get off pain pills, my way more power to you, because that is the worst thing to be under the spell of. But according to Merriam-Webster, drug, the second definition they had, something and often an illegal substance that causes addiction, habituation, or a marked change in consciousness. Now, one of the things that I have against weed is how narcotic it actually is. He's absolutely right. There are no known cases of any fatalities due directly to weed, but I don't know about you, but whenever I was growing up, and this is aimed more at the younger crowd than anything, I did a bunch of stupid shit on weed, and I came up with some of the weirdest ideas, and it was a lot of fun. It really was. But we also had one of our guys get in a car wreck while high on weed because he wasn't smart enough not to drive. There's no shortage of claims around the world about the greatness of weed. Drug is not a weed. There are countless claims with and without evidence that weed is not a drug. I can admit to that. Marijuana is not addictive. It contains no additives. Unfortunately, addiction as a whole is not based on the presence of additives, and it's not only to a specific substance. It's the mindset that I'm trying to defeat right now, where we are someplace mentally where we are depressed, we are down, we are feeling things inside of our minds and inside our hearts and our bodies that we just want to change immediately. And marijuana is definitely one way to do that. But to me, it's basically bringing a stick of dynamite to a field where a simple golf ball is going to play. It just seems way too powerful for me to even think about this being legalized. It's all natural, so it's safe. Well, okay. All natural drugs, others are opium, cocaine, rattlesnake venom, and cyanide. All four of those are technically all natural, so I can't really subscribe to that one. I went on the FDA's website and I looked up what they consider is addiction to marijuana, and there certainly is a pretty extensive list, but this is kind of the shotgun blast of addiction qualities that they put specifically for marijuana, and it applies to just about every drug. Using more marijuana than intended, you know, I don't know how many times I've had like a quarter sack with me and have a buddy with you, and by the end of the night we're going out and getting another one. But you know, there's folk in the circles that I run in that have tried but failed to quit using marijuana, and I see what they're saying here. I spend a lot of time using marijuana because, you know, you smoke, you don't really want to do anything. I mean, you want to chill, you want to relax, and to me it killed my ambition. I didn't care about doing anything I had to do that day because I got high. You know, I'm not gonna bring too much of that stupid ass song, but there's actually a deeper meaning in that song than what a lot of people think. Using marijuana, even though it causes problems at home, school, or work. Now, especially to kids. Right now, marijuana is nowhere near hard to get. I think everybody in history of this state has got at least two people in their phone that know how to get it. But whenever you're using marijuana, it's easier to get to. Kids at school are going to fail out with this. People, I know that I used to butt heads with my mom. She was wondering about my behavior. She couldn't figure out what was going on with it, and I was hiding it the best I could. And it definitely can cause trouble at work. I was going to go to work, but then I got high. And this is off the FDA's website, and I know that a lot of people don't really like them, but this is true. Myth or fact, my doctor prescribed it, so it can't be wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, this is pure myth. I myself have spent countless hours and dollars in hospitals, urgent care clinics, doctor's office, emergency room, twisting and bending prescribers to my will of as many, in my case, painkillers, but this could easily become weed, as I can manage. Something as narcotic as marijuana will certainly be pursued the same. This is me. This is who I used to be, and I lost myself along the way.
I think I need to clarify one point about my position on cannabis, and that is that I don't think it should be used if you are under the age of 23. because there's studies that show that your brain hasn't developed properly until that point. It hasn't finished developing, and if you use cannabis before that point, it can affect the development and then make the effects worse when you're older. So I do agree with you that using it as a kid and doing stupid things, that's a bad thing, because the brain isn't yet developed. So I'm on board with you with what you were saying there on that part, at least.
I guess that's one question. We know that you do use cannabis and it helps you quite a bit. But I guess one of my concerns is for the general population is, how do you control the dosage of that? How do you know what concentration of THC and CBD, everything that's in it? How do you know how much you're getting into your body?
You don't really. It's a personal thing, and for me anyway, as I've used cannabis over the last several years, I've learned how much I need to use, and I do use quite a lot because I want to have the painkilling effects all of the time. I think for cannabis, it's a personal thing, and you would know if you used too much.
Oh, I know. I remember that feeling.
Yeah.
What was that? I remember I smoked a blunt with some friends of mine one time, and I went to sleep. I woke up, I felt something cold on my shoulder, and I looked up, and it was the freaking floor.
I would always say, if you're going to smoke cannabis, do it just the cannabis, and don't mix it with tobacco, and don't mix it with alcohol, and don't mix it with other things. Because I know you said in your presentation about how it kind of led from that to then alcohol and to other things. Well, yeah, there's the argument that cannabis can be a gateway drug, but I think if you just have the cannabis, then the issues don't arise like that. I'm not advocating for driving whilst high. You probably shouldn't ever drive under the influence of anything.
Right. It should be controlled like anything else.
Yeah, but I mean, for someone like me, I literally have it in my system all of the time. And I do still drive. If you're a new user to cannabis, never ever consider driving within several hours of smoking it. The same as drinking or something. But I think for people that use it in the long term, it's hard to not do things under the influence because it's always in your bloodstream, if you know what I mean. But there's so many benefits to it being used, and even just making your quality of life better. Even if you've got no physical pain or something, weed can just make you happier. And there's so many benefits to it that I just don't understand why it's illegal still in this day and age. And the main caveat should be an age limit. You shouldn't have it if you're young. It will damage your brain. It will damage your development, and then make the effects when you're older worse. So obviously there's limits to things that being legal, but I still think it should be legalized for kind of general use, be it recreational or medicinal.
Well, with that being said, we would basically equate weed to basically Tylenol. At one point, it was only a prescription-only thing. And nowadays, you could buy it over the counter, but the doctor can still prescribe it. I really have a hard time identifying those two with each other.
Right. Let me ask you this question, okay? So say we hadn't discovered weed, alcohol, or tobacco, and a group of scientists were like, guys, we've just discovered this stuff. Here's cannabis, here's tobacco, and here's alcohol. And they presented the three of them to the American government. And out of those three, which would the American government say is fine?
Oh, I hate you. It would be weed. It would be cannabis.
Yeah. It would be cannabis because, tobacco is so damaging and, causes millions of deaths across the world a year as a direct result of smoking it. Alcohol, again, causes so many deaths and other problems and high addiction levels, just like tobacco, but alcohol can be even worse. But cannabis doesn't have those problems. And even though, you can never get away from the fact that if you're smoking it as a flower, you're combusting something and there's going to be some carcinogens there. But the studies have shown that the carcinogens that you get from general use of using cannabis are so low that you wouldn't likely develop any lung cancer or anything from just smoking cannabis.
My viewpoint on why it should not be legalized comes from this. Okay, we're all about feelings. My generation, I got a feeling it's yours too. I'm 37, but we're all about our feelings, and we want to sometimes not feel anything. So we reach out to different things, and it's not anything in particular, but just having these things, having opiates, having benzos, having barbiturates, having cocaine, having methamphetamine, having marijuana, in my opinion, is lumped in with all of that so that you could turn to, so you can change the way you're feeling about something. That is where the danger is. We've got so many things right now that a person could turn to just because they want an instant fix. They want an immediate relief and a result from it. And looking deep inside someone's anxiety, their PTSD, and for mine, I've got combat PTSD, and that's from actual engaging with enemy in person, being shot at, and having to shoot. And that's something that I had a hard time getting out of my head, and I tried to quell that with a million different things, and one of them in that arsenal that I had was marijuana. And for that reason alone, it's dangerous to me, and I don't think it needs to be here.
But it's not about the experience for me. The main reason I think it should be legalized is that it can help so many people. Millions and millions of people can be helped with it. And I know you suffer from PTSD, and with the right usage of the parts of cannabis, I think it could help you.
I do agree with that. And yes, of course, I'd be a fool to not acknowledge that there are good things to come out of it, but there's other things that can be used.
Yeah, there is other things. You know, it's something that should be available enough to an adult that's able to make the decision to use it, and available to people that can use it to benefit their life and increase their quality of life. For me, there's no doubt in my mind that cannabis saved my life, and cannabis gives me the best quality of life that I could have with the chronic pain that I'm in.
Munchies are real.
Yeah, munchies are real. If you want to see how real the munchies are, when I started my channel, I was on the opioids, right? Just coming off, right? And you know, starting with weed and everything. And the munchies were real. And you can see from when I started smoking weed and having the munchies, how much my waistline and face grew. Until I then was like, oh shit, I watched one of the videos and I was like, Jesus, that guy's fat. I need to lose some weight.
Well, it looks like you did. You look great these days, man.
I did. I lost about a third of my body weight after I saw myself in one of my videos. I think it was the one I did with Professor Stick. I watched that back and I was like, holy cow. I ate the cow.
Thanks, man.